Have you ever seen a ghost? Not the kind that rattles chains or walks through walls, but the kind that sleeps next to you every night, wearing the face of the person you love. I saw one in the faint blue light of my wife Sarah's phone screen at 2:17 a.m. Her face, usually a mask of serene sleep, was alive with a secret smile, a glow that had nothing to do with me. I saw my own name in a text message, followed by a laughing emoji and a cold dread, sharp and sudden as a shard of glass, lodged itself in my heart. The message wasn't from me, and I knew in that instant that the woman I had built my life with was a stranger, and our home was a haunted house. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. The strange behavior had started subtly, like a hairline crack in a foundation. Late nights at the office, hushed phone calls she'd take in the other room. A new, almost frantic obsession with her appearance. Sarah, who once lived in yoga pants and my old college sweatshirts, was now a connoisseur of expensive lingerie and dresses that seemed tailored for a life I was unapart of. When I'd ask, she'd just laugh, a tinkling sound that used to warm me but now sounded like breaking glass. "Just trying to feel good about myself, honey," she'd say, the words a smokescreen. She became a master of manipulation, turning my concern into an accusation. "Why don't you trust me? Are you that insecure?" The questions were designed to put me on the defensive, to make me the villain in a story she was secretly writing. The discovery wasn't a single event, but a slow, agonizing bleed. A credit card bill with a charge for a room at the Thompson Hotel in Dallas, a place we'd never been. A receipt for two, not one, from a steakhouse on a night she was supposedly working late. The pieces clicked into place with the grim finality of a coffin lid shutting. The man's name was Mark. I found it on a saved email confirmation. They felt untouchable, wrapped in the arrogance of their secret. The worst part was the joke. I found the text thread, the one I'd glimpsed that night. Mark had gotten a tattoo, my name, on his ribs. It was a private joke between them, a way to mock the man he was cuckolding every time he was with my wife. My name, the one my father gave me, was a punchline etched into another man's skin. That was the night I broke. I didn't confront her. I didn't scream. I walked out of our Chicago brownstone on W. Fullerton Avenue, down to the shores of Lake Michigan, and let the icy November wind tear the breath from my lungs. The city lights blurred into a meaningless smear of color. The man I was, the loyal, trusting husband, died on that shoreline. In his place, something else was born. Something cold, patient, and strategic. My grief curdled into a quiet, simmering rage. The game was no longer hers to play. It was mine. I began gathering proof with the meticulousness of a detective building a case. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop who looked at me with a sad, knowing pity. He gave me everything. Photos of them kissing in a parking garage in the Loop, timestamps of their hotel stays, audio recordings of their calls filled with cheap promises and cruel laughter at my expense. I saved every file, every image, every soul-crushing word onto a single encrypted hard drive. While Sarah played the part of the loving wife, I was setting the traps. I consulted a lawyer, the best divorce attorney in Chicago. We structured the divorce filing to detonate with maximum impact, citing the infidelity clause in our prenup, a document she had laughed at when we signed it. I moved our joint assets into a protected account, leaving just enough to avoid suspicion. The social trap was the final piece. Sarah was a social climber, the chair of a major charity foundation. Their annual gala, a massive event at the Drake Hotel, was in 2 weeks. It was her coronation, and it would be her execution. The night of the gala was a blur of champagne and fake smiles. Sarah was radiant in a shimmering gown, holding court, oblivious. I played my part, the doting husband, my hand on the small of her back, a gesture that felt like I was touching a corpse. When she went to the stage to give her keynote address, the room fell silent. She stood at the podium, beaming under the spotlight, began her speech about trust and community. That was my cue. I nodded to the AV technician, a man my pie had on a retainer. The massive screen behind Sarah, meant to display the foundation's logo, flickered. And then it came to life. The first image was of her and Mark, locked in an embrace outside the Thompson Hotel. A collective gasp rippled through the ballroom. Sarah froze, her smile collapsing. Then the next photo, and the next. The steakhouse receipt. The text messages blown up for all to see, including the one about the tattoo. The final piece was a short audio clip. "He's just a walking wallet," followed by Sarah's laughter. The silence in the room was absolute, a crushing weight. I didn't stay to watch the fallout. I simply turned and walked out of the Drake Hotel, leaving her to be devoured by the public humiliation she had so carefully cultivated for me. The divorce was swift. The infidelity clause was ironclad. She lost everything: the house, the money, her social standing. She was ruined, a ghost in her own life. Sometimes, late at night, I walk by the lake where the old me died. The water is black and cold, and it doesn't offer any answers. It just keeps the secrets. The end.